Hello and welcome to Rando Tech Info. So Samsung just finished their Galaxy Unpacked 2020 event. It just wrapped about 5 minutes ago. I wanted to share with you some of the highlights. It was a rather long event, about an hour and 10 minutes long. I just want to give you some quick highlights of that event so you know what they talked about and what was taken away from it. The first thing they opened with was the Galaxy Z Flip. The Flip will have a 6.7 inch screen. It has a flex mode on it so the phone can work either completely open or like halfway open or really any angle. The one application they showed with this was kind of using it like a tripod, which I guess is kind of cool. Comes in a variety of colors. Gold got the most gasps from the crowd. Small bezels. Did not really see a crease, although in other leaked videos and videos that are out there of this phone, you can see the crease. So I'm assuming it is visible. But other people who've used like the original Galaxy Fold say you get used to it, so I don't know how big a deal that is. There is a very small selfie screen on this thing, like there's a small screen next to the exterior camera, so you can take selfies with the exterior camera, with the better camera. There's also a camera on the inside as well, but it does have that much smaller screen than the one on the Razr, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's almost just like a thumbnail. So we'll see what people think about that. It claims to have a new fiber shield on the outside of like the hinge area to keep dust and debris out of the hinge. It's supposed to come out February 14th for $1,380 USD. So it's cheaper than the Razr. Still very expensive though. Spec wise, and I didn't really talk about specs. That's not really what this phone's about, but the specs have been leaked or talked about before, so just a rundown of those. 855 plus processor, 8 gigs of RAM, 1080 resolution with 256 gigs of storage. So not top-end specs, but close. Basically top-end specs for 2019. So once again, not to keep comparing it to the Razr, but that's obviously where the comparisons are going to come from. Definitely better on the spec end. I think the Razr, the interesting things that the Razr has going for it is that bigger screen when the phone is shut, and once again that crease. The Razr has no crease in the screen, and it looks like this phone probably does. We'll see if that matters to people or not. Next up, talking about the main series, the S20 series. First off, apparently they filmed the whole press conference with S20 series devices, Galaxy S20 series devices. So that's kind of cool. It looked good. They actually showed a couple of cameramen, you know, they took the phones away from them to prove or show that that's what they filmed the event with. So that was pretty neat. Talked obviously a lot about 5G, a lot about the camera. Talked about the camera being able to work in, you know, all types of lighting conditions. Talked about how their AI and their computational photography, although they never called it that, talked about how that was improved and that the whole camera system had been revamped across the entire line. The non-ultra editions will have a 64 megapixel primary camera with space zoom, which goes up to 30 times. You can take different versions of a single shot, so like when you're done taking photos of something, you can go back and choose not only the best one, like a Google Top Shot, but also like you can choose whether it's a wide angle shot or a more zoomed in shot. You know, I didn't really understand everything they threw down there, but you know, definitely they said you can go back after you take your pictures and pick quote unquote the best version. So it'll be interesting to see people mess around with that. They have a Galaxy gallery on these phones, which lets you search for people by like faces, very similar to Google Photos. It does 8K video. That got some big applause from the crowd. The samples that they did show looked amazing. Now, obviously, they're going to look amazing at Samsung's event, but still, I was really impressed with the videos and the pictures that they showed this thing could do. If it works half this well in the real world as they're making it seem like it works, this is next level stuff. Apple, Google, Huawei have all been put on notice. Samsung looks like they really doubled down on cameras this time around, and if, like I said, if it's just half as good as it looks, they're impressive. Super steady mode looked good. up to 1.5 terabytes of storage on these devices with micro SD expansion, which is huge because if you're taking these gigantic videos and photos, storage is going to be an issue. They seem like they understand that. The camera is the same on all devices with the exception of the Ultra. The Ultra has a 108 megapixel camera. They claim it has 1/10 of a second shutter speed, so nearly instantaneous shutter speed. They showed off its low light capabilities. And the big thing with the Ultra is it has 100 times zoom, which they did show off, and it was pretty crazy. It looked pretty good. Now, the examples that they showed were outside, well lit, obviously in lower lighting conditions or non-optimal lighting conditions. I doubt that 100 times zoom will look quite that good, but the fact that it's even on there and it's even usable is obviously very impressive. There was a gaggle of celebrities and filmmakers on there. I'm not going to name them all here, who showed what it can do. And once again, I said it all looked great. They have partnerships with Netflix. They have partnerships with Spotify. They have partnerships with Google. They talked about Bixby for about 30 seconds at one point. Google Duo is going to come pre-packaged on all the devices or preloaded on all the devices with a few special features on there. I think that's really smart. Duo, I think, is Android's best answer to FaceTime. So if they can get people adopting that platform, I think that would be good for them. They mentioned gaming, obviously with the 120 hertz screen, which all these devices are supposed to have. They also talked about less touch latency. They didn't give exact numbers for touch latency, I don't believe, but they said they did have gamers in mind, and the touch screen should be super, super responsive. Up to 16 gigabytes of RAM. There is an Xbox game, well, not an Xbox game, it's a Microsoft game that they're making exclusively. I don't know if it's exclusive. It's going to be in the gallery store called Forza Street. So I don't know if it'll eventually come onto the Play Store for other Android devices or not, but as of right now or in the near future, it made it sound like it was going to be an exclusive to Samsung. So not entirely sure about that. They did talk about Galaxy Buds Plus. That got a lot of cheer from the audience. Apparently larger and better sound than the original Buds. They made it sound like it has its own version of transparency mode. So to me, that was a big announcement about this item. Was they talked about this ambient sound mode, which sounded very similar to Apple AirPods Pro's transparency mode. So like you could make the sounds around you actually amplified so you could hear what was going on around you. Once again, it'll be interesting when people get their hands on this to kind of compare those two things. But if they are able to do that, that will be impressive, especially considering the price point of $149, which is $100 less than the AirPods Pro. So they seem like they might be undercutting Apple a little on there. So, and last but not least, prices. First off, all phones are 5G. So they made it sound like there's not even a 4G version of these phones, that there's just a 5G version. That's a little different than what some of the leaks before were saying about these devices. But the base model, or the lowest end model, is $999. The Plus model is $1199, with the Ultra being $1399. So not cheap. The cheapest version of this phone is $300 more than the base iPhone 11. So, you know, not for the faint of heart, not for somebody who's not looking to make a sizable investment. Of course, the price will drop in the coming months, and I'm sure carriers will offer deals on these things as well. So definitely keep your eyes open for those. In fact, as those deals come up over the next few days, I will probably do a video about the best deals on this device if you want to come back and check out the channel later. Quick edit alert, in post-production, I realized I missed one of the most important parts of the review or the summary, which is when the S series comes out. It's March 6th. And then they also talked about the S10 prices have also dropped. The cheapest model of the S10 is now $599. then $749, and then the Plus model, the top end model, is $849 of the S10, which is still a perfectly capable device and also has a headphone jack. So if that matters to you and you want to save, I don't know, a few $100s, then maybe that's the way to go. So anyway, no huge surprises there. A lot of the stuff has been leaked and talked about before. It'll be interesting to see if people are willing to pay these type of prices for a phone as good as it is. I mean, it looks impressive. It's got the new Snapdragon 865 processor in it. Like I said, boatloads of RAM. It's a spec beast, and it's got big screens, beautiful screens, high refresh rates. It's got it all. It'll just be interesting to see if people are willing to pony up that kind of money for that. And it'll be interesting to see how well the Z is received as well. So anyway, that's all I got for today. If you want to watch the conference in its entirety, it's 1 hour plus long entirety, you can always go to Samsung's website and view it there. So until next time, this is Rando Tech Info. Thanks for watching. Take care. Signing out.